Hey guys, my name is Miles, and today I'm going to be doing another deck profile. Not only is this going to be a deck profile, it's probably going to be a very long video. I'm just going to be going completely in-depth about every card, what people should be side decking, what people should be, what the extra deck should be. So it's going to be a pretty long video probably. If you just want the deck list, that will be in the description, so you can check that now and then click off the video. I'd appreciate if you like the video. And yeah, this was a subscriber wanted me to do a deck profile with Judgment Day in it, Spellbook Judgment Day, so I'm going to do that now. And yeah, so I'll get straight into it and show you the deck. So clearly we use 3 High Priestess of Prophecy. Now, how I feel about this card is I really like it, but I wish Prophecy had another go-to card. Like, this is our win condition pretty much. You know, if someone was to banish all 3 of these, we've lost. There's no point playing anymore, we've lost. I mean, it's easy accessible. You know, you can get it with Justic Of Prophecy, and it's easy to summon, especially with the 3 spellbooks in hand. Very easy to do with this deck, and you can get it out a lot. You know, it can pop 1 card once per turn. You know, it's power. You can make it stronger. It's just such a good card in so many ways. But at the same time, I would like to have another boss monster. You know, so there's only 3 cards in the deck that will win it all, pretty much. You know, but you know, priestess is priestess, and you need to play 3. Then you got 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Now this guy is insane. You need to play him at 3. He's just so versatile, he's so helpful, we can give you any spellbook you want. Most of the time, if I have a Secrets in hand and him, I'll play him, get Judgment, play Judgment, Secrets, Master, you know, go crazy, get all those pluses. He's really good also, you know, he'll go into your like rank 2 plays, and then the only plays you really make with this deck are rank 2s and rank 7s. But we'll get to that later. So, he's also amazing. The biggest combo I do with this card is play him, and you know, normally I'll search whatever I need, but you know, I'll go Secrets, get power, use power on him, then Spellbook of the Master, target the power, make him a 2500 beater, attack, add 2 spellbooks. He's just so good. So yeah, definitely play him in 3s, he's amazing. Then we play 1 Apprentice Magician. So this is the deck. The deck I'm using now. The deck I'm profiling now is the deck I use on Dev Pro and Dueling Network. And it's yet to actually lose. I've played, what, about 50 games now? I think it's lost about twice. Both times being to the Suppressor Dragons or the Incarnate Dragons, whatever they're called. Those Elemental Dragon things, they're just insane. But Apprentice Magician has been 50-50 really. It can be a really good card because Apprentice Magician, that's pretty much instant gutchy next turn. Really easy to make rank 2s to this. And it gives you that bit of protection, because the deck's really like open to getting OTK'd and just massive damage. This is like the only small defense you really have in the deck, and I really like it. The monsters, you know, are quite limited in this deck, and you want to make sure you're playing the best monsters, but I do feel like this is a very good card. I can understand why people won't play it, but at the same time, you know, don't just say no to playing the card. Test it. Sorry about that. It is a very good card. Next, we play probably the second best monster in the deck, and that's Justic Of Prophecy. Justic Of Prophecy, when Spellbook Judgment Day comes out, this card is going to get a million times better. You can just... it's just broke, pretty much. This card will become absolutely broke once Judgment Day is released. You know, you add a Spellbook and you add High Priestess, pretty much. You add your wind condition. Your win condition to your hand. I'm pretty sure I just said wind. So yeah, it lets you add your win condition to your hand and a Spellbook. It's just so good. You know, with power it can get to like 26, with Master as well, comboed with that, it can get to 36. And that's, you know, it's just so good. And you can protect it with, like, you know, wisdom and everything. It's just so good. Nothing else to be said about it. Now we play 3 Breaker. I feel like this is very needed, because this deck can lose to a lot of things. It can lose to Thunder King. You can just crash into it. It can lose to Macrocosmos. You can use Effect. It can lose to Prohibition. A lot of Prohibition players, a lot of people are playing Prohibition in their side at the moment. They're always calling Secrets or High Priestess. This can stop that. It's good for baiting out bottomlesses, anything really, you know, then you wisdom it and you pop 2. It's so good. I mean, playing 3 Breaker is just great. And then, you know, you can, if you're lucky to have power, you can just go Breaker power and beat the Thunder King that way. I mean, Breaker is just such a good card. Playing 3 of him, I feel, is very justified. If you play 2, you can probably get away with 2. I definitely would not play 1. But 3 Breaker, it's never been a dead card. It's always such a good card in my hand. Then we have the 2 Effect Failures. Effect Failure is great there are still quite a lot of decks that get hurt by Effect Failure, even in the mirror match. When someone Effect Failures my Spellbook of Prophecy, it makes me cry inside. I mean, getting the searches off is so good. So in the mirror match, Effect Failure is amazing. And also it's very good for making TG Hyper Librarian with Breaker. On Dev Pro and that, I do use that level 3 Synchro Monster, that little the bird one. And you can make that, and that's a decent card, so it's good for when that comes out. And also, most importantly, probably I'd say the Scrap Dragon plays. You can make Scrap Dragon pretty easy with this and High Priestess and pop another card if you need to. I just feel like it's a very justified card, playing 2 in the deck. Then we got Tragoedia. Tragoedia is a decent card, it always has been. I've always thought about taking it out, but at the same time it's just so good. The only thing I don't like about Tragoedia is that it's not a spellcaster. I like the deck being mostly all spellcasters, but you know, Tragoedia is always like 3,000 to 3,600. It's such a big beater, and you can just win alone from Tragoedia. So playing 2 Tragoedia is very good, and yeah. So there's the monsters. That's 16 monsters in total, I believe. Yeah, so let's get on to the spells. So, for the spells, and here we are. We played 2 Spellbook Judgment Day. These are Japanese, obviously, because it's not out in the TCG yet. But Spellbook Judgment Day, this will make the deck really broken. But I want to stress that, okay, so Spellbooks are going to be insanely amazing, but they are not going to be the best deck, I feel. This allows me to plus a lot. I'm not going to destroy any of the cards, I'm not going to loop you, I'm not going to make you discard anything, you're not going to lose life points. It allows me to plus like 6. That alone is stupid ridiculous. It is really, really ridiculous, and it will make the deck amazing. But you know, stuff like those elemental dragons, whatever they're called, you know, the wind and all that, they are insane and they will do damage to you, they will hurt you. It is still a broken card, I'm not trying to deny that whatsoever, and it will just wreck decks pretty much. When I plus so much, next turn I'll just mess you up. So yeah, playing 2 I think is good. Playing 3 is too many. You know, you can just you can put it back into the deck, there's no need to play 3. You can definitely get away with playing 1, but it's nice to open up with this, because you can go crazy straight away, and you know, add the second one with Justice. The problem I face, you know, quite often, if I'm doing really well, you can just, within like 3 or 4 turns, you can rinse your deck of spellbooks. You don't want to be stupid. There are people that go +9 off this, and then they end up discarding a bunch of spellbooks. There's no point of doing that whatsoever. You're just silly. You mainly want to try, you want to always go +3. You want to add 3 spellbooks to this. Summon the Justice, use Justice, get High Priestess, and if you want, you can get the second one of this if you still have it, or just add any spellbook really. So yeah, I think playing 2 is great. You know, and it's just broke if you open up this and like Spellbook of Secrets. You're just set really. It is such a good card, and it will make the deck crazy good and crazy fast. The deck will be really fast of this. Then we still play the amazing 3 Spellbook of Secrets. The rotor of the deck searches everything. Searches any spellbook, you know, and you know, just pretty much the common play is Spellbook of Secrets, Spellbook of the Master. Then I normally go Spellbook Grand Tower and activate Spellbook Grand Tower. That's normally my 3 I use when I play this. I'll play this, Secrets, Master, Grand Tower. Then get Justice, like get a High Priestess, and the second one of this. Then I play 2 Spellbook of Power. People do play 3, and you can play 3, but with like, you know, Spellbook Judgment Day coming out, you just have so many spellbooks in your deck, you don't want to kind of clog it all too much. So I think playing 2 is justified, and it is very good, and as I say, you can always just recycle it back into the deck and use it again. So I think using 2 is fine. I don't think you need to play 3 of any spellbook apart from Spellbook of Secrets, as it is just too many, and you can just recycle it. So, you know, just keep recycling it back in your deck if you want to use it. I mean, it's such a good card, you know, using it with like any of the spellcasters just to get like a +1 or a +2 if you use Master with it. It makes it just such a powerful card. And yeah, so just keep using 2 of them. Next we play 2 Spellbook of Wisdom. Spellbook of Wisdom is insane. If there's any spellbook I'd want to play 3 of, it would be this, because it is just so good. I mean, it protects all your plays. And as I say, all the spellbooks are so easy to search with. You know, if you have Secrets, go Secrets, get Wisdom, then go off with your Priestess to make sure she's protected. And yeah, like with Breaker, if you summon Breaker, they bottomless it, activate this, protect Breaker, and then destroy another set card they have. It's just really good. And also it makes Torrential Tribute really good. If you have a High Priestess and they go all out, you just flip the Torrential, flip this, protect Priestess, they lose all the monsters, you don't lose anything. It's just great. Next, I still play 2 Spellbook of Eternity. Hardly anyone seems to do this. I think you should. I don't think you should play 3, obviously that's stupid. You can play 1, but I think playing 1 is just a bit too slow. Because you use Fate quite a lot, you know, you can banish the cards and that helps so much. I think being able to just make sure you always have one of these in your hand and then keep recycling it. This is a really good play. Most of the time, with Grand Tower, I recycle this. You know, I'll recycle this, then banish the Fate, get back the Fate with this, and keep, you know, just keep doing the process. It allows you to just keep like recycling cards and keep using your spellbooks. It's such a good card. You should play 2. You shouldn't play 1. It's too slow. Playing 2 is really good. And then we play the 2 Spellbook of Fate. Spellbook of Fate is insane. This card originally wasn't that good. It just seemed like too high of a cost, but obviously once Eternity got released, I thought Fate was amazing. It's just so good. I mean, most of the time you're going to either banish, that's the most common one you're going to do, you're going to banish one card your opponent controls, or you change like your Spellbook of Prophecy. Lately a lot of people have been using Copy Plant on me, and they'll target Priestess. I'll then use this to set Priestess so they lose the target and Priestess is safe. That seems to be a very good play at the moment. So overall I think Spellbook of Fate is a really, really good card. And the last thing actually is also, it's common for me to have like this and Wisdom set. If they go Heavy Storm, I will often activate this and banish one Spellbook to return Wisdom to my hand. You know, this card is just so versatile, it is so good. You should be playing it at 2. Playing it at 3, obviously, as I say, you don't need to play any Spellbook at 3 apart from Spellbook of Secrets. There's no point to it. And playing it at 1 would be too slow. You need to play 2. Then you got Spellbook of the Master. Once again, this is a card I've considered playing at 3. But as I say, you don't need to play 3 of any Spellbook apart from Secrets. It's so good. It has so much, like... It has so many combos with Secrets, with Eternity, with Power. Power, I think, is the best combo you can do with this card. You end up, you know, adding 2 Spellbooks. It is just such a good card. There's not much really else to say about it. I mean, the cost is you need to control a spellcaster, and obviously you need to reveal that spellbook. But other than that, this card is insanely good, and it's just too good, just too good. Next, I play 2 Spellbook of Life. Now, I am considering about putting this down to 1. I have been thinking about playing Spellbook Star Halls lately. They're definitely something I want to try out. If I was to play them, I'd play them at 2. I see a bunch of people playing them at 3 at the moment. Once again, don't play any Spellbook at 3 unless it's Spellbook of Secrets. You don't need to play them at 3. I mean, Priestess only needs to get to 3,000 really to be perfectly safe from monsters as well. I mean, you know, a lot of people can crash into it with 2-5 or, you know, Red Eyes Darkness Metal. You know, once Priestess pretty much hits 2-9 and above, she's pretty much safe. If you have Wisdom, the only thing that's going to affect her is the monster effects. So I like playing 2 though of these, just because, as I say, High Priestess of Prophecy is your win condition. You want your win condition on the field, and you know sometimes the only way to get back is Spellbook of Life, and just having 2 is really good. I think it can take time to recycle cards, so that's why I like playing 2 of each card, because you don't always have the time to sit there and recycle the card. Sometimes you need to get to the card now, and Spellbook of Life can be really important. Spellbook of Life wins games. It really does. It really just, you know, late game, if you play this, you just pull it out your ass and you win. You win the game. It's so good. And finally, I place 2, the Grand Spellbook Tower. This is also the other card I was thinking about playing at 1. So if I was to put the Star Halls in, I would take out 1 of each and try Star Hall, which I will do after this video. And I will redo this video once Spellbook Judgment Day is released in England, or in the TCG I should say, and tell you what the deck is then. But for now, I really like Tower. A lot of people play 1 because you can recycle it. As I say, recycling can take quite a lot of time, and we love getting that +1 draw every turn. It is just so good. I mean, this card is just out. When it comes to field cards, they don't get much better than this. This field spell is just insane. Absolutely insane. So that's it for the spellbooks. There's 19 spellbooks there. I like to play between 20 to 17 spellbooks in the deck. When you play that much, special summoning High Priestess with 3 spellbooks in your hand is very easy. So the last spell cards we really play don't need to be explained, are the Trinity, and then the only 2 traps I play are Torrential Tribute. I still love this card. It can clear the field, you can protect your priestess by using wisdom. It's so good. A lot of people play Treacherous Trap Hole. You can play that, that is also a good card. So yeah, I would say either play Treacherous Trap Hole or Torrential Tribute, or even Dimension Prisons. Dimension Prisons are just insane. So that's the deck. That's 40 cards. Please let me know what you think about the main deck. I have worked on it a long time, and I said, it wins so many duels. It rarely ever loses, you know, it loses rounds, but it doesn't lose duels very often at all. The deck is just very good. Alright, now I'm going to go over the extra deck, and here's how I've done it. The extra deck, there's no real official extra deck for Prophecy at the moment. There's only a few cards I feel like you need to play in the extra deck. So here's what I'm going to show you. These are the cards you need to play in the Prophecy extra deck. These are the cards that actually you're going to be able to make often, and the cards that are going to help you when you make them. So, Gutchy, he's great. You know, Spellbook Judgment of Prophecy or Apprentice Magician in him. He's easy to make, he's the most common one you're going to make, and he's just so good and helpful. Gusto Phoenix, once again, the rank 2s are the ones you're going to make the most. So, if your opponent has a clear field, and you make this, that's 3k damage you can do. So, Gusto Phoenix, once again, is also a very, very good card to play. And finally, for rank 2s, Shining Elf. Shining Elf is a spellcaster. Spellcasters in this deck are broken. So making him is great. You can Spellbook of Power him, you can Spellbook of Life him, you can plus off him so much. And you know, his actual effect is a bit poopy. When a monster is normal summoned or special summoned, you can detach to make it lose 500 attack points. So essentially, it can get over 21, you know, like, if the card has 22 attack, you're screwed, but 21, you know, you can crash into it, or 2000, you're safe. So, I mean, it's a decent effect, but the main reason you want to play this card is because it's a spellcaster, it has 1600 attack, and it makes power a lot easier to play, instead of having to go power and master to make magician effective. Then you play Milesyy because defense is great, and you play the breakers. You know, you're very prone to being OTK'd, so making this, that will defend you quite well. Milesyy is just a great card. Then you play number 50, Black Ship of Corn. I can't actually play this over here in England yet, but for everyone in America you can play this, and it's a great card. The reason you want to play it is because it's different. It can do 1000 damage, and 1000 damage can be a lot of damage. So I think playing this card is very good. It can get over Spirit Reapers and all that, and just that 1000 damage at times can win you games or get you very close to winning games. It's very important. Also, Gargoyle Cowboy is also another card I suggest you definitely play. I don't have a Gargoyle Cowboy at the moment, you know, because he can do 800 damage. So, you know, Milesyy for defense, him for that 1000 damage, and if your opponent has 800 life points or less, Gargoyle Cowboy, you can game them. These are cards you should really, really play. Next, you got Big Eye. Big Eye, along with Gutchy, Big Eye is the one you'll make the most. You know, you can play double priestess, pop 2, and take their card. It's such an effective thing to do. It's really good, and yeah, Big Eye is just Big Eye. Then you got TG Hyper Librarian. These are the synchros. The reason you play TG Hyper Librarian is because he's a spellcaster. And if it's a spellcaster, as I say, the chance of winning the duel increases by 100%. Spellcasters are what are going to win you. You can power it, you can secret it. Then you got Tempest Magician. Same principle. You can power it, you can secret it. It's a spellcaster. You can also burn your opponent for 500 damage for each spell counter on it. Very effective way, very easy way to win as well. If your opponent doesn't have Veiler, I mean, just think, with Prophecy you have some massive hands. You can discard your whole, well, if you know you're going to win and you know your opponent doesn't affect Veiler or Compulse or something like that, you can just go, discard your whole hand and burn them for, say, like what, 3000 damage. 3000 damage. That is so, so good. Arcanite Magician, you can destroy 2 cards. It's fantastic. Spellcaster, once again, power and wisdom. It makes it so, so good. And finally, Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon's great. You know, you can. It's quite easy to make. You know, he's probably the third easiest card to make. Priestess, Effect Veiler, Scrap Dragon, Pop 1, just really good. So that's 11 cards, I believe, with Gargoyle Cowboy. I'll show you some other cards you can play. These are cards these are cards I use for 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. That aren't really cards you need to play. You know, this is like player preference right now. But here's a bunch of cards you can play and cards I have played in the past. So Chimera Tech, if I know I'm about to play a bunch of people using machines. Wind Up Semains. Yeah, Wind Up Semains because he's just defense and he's an emergency rank 3 pretty much. Armory Arm because you can make him, and if you do make him and use him effectively, you'll win the duel. This guy, he's almost a staple pretty much. I mean, he's so good, But, you know, double priestess, you can already blow up 2 back row. I mean, I would say play him definitely because he's really good, but he isn't 100% needed at the moment because your opponent needs to be playing a lot of back row for him to be very effective. And, you know, you'd rather start next turn with 2 priestess instead of him because he can't pop monsters, so, you know. Then, Acid Golem, you can play him if you're like your locals or anything plays a lot of skill drains. You can go both your Justic Of Prophecies and make him and just beat down with 3000 attack pretty much. I mean, Arclight Magician can blow up too, but Black Rose Dragon can blow up the whole field. That's why you can sometimes play Black Rose Dragon if you're in a tight situation. He can just clear, give you a fresh start pretty much. Then you got Utopia, because Utopia can defend you, and he's just, you know, generically he's just a really good card. I'll have Justice because it shits on anything that isn't dark. Once again, he's also easy to make. Breaker, Effect Failure, easy to make. And Stardust Dragon, I wouldn't recommend playing him, but you know, Stardust Dragon is Stardust Dragon. He can protect stuff. So yeah, he's a pretty good card. Okay, and finally moving on to the extra deck. Now this is like a generic extra deck I pretty much use every time I go to a locals. I edited it last night, so this is like the new one I use. And I think it's really effective. It will deal with all the problem cards you're going to face when you're using Spellbook Prophecies and that. So, first one, Tsukuyomi. It deals with Thunder Kings and Naturia Beasts. Okay, so I'm just going to list quickly the cards that will mess you up. Okay, Thunder King is very, very much going to mess you up. Naturia Beast is very, very going to mess you up. Shien, he will mess you up, but you can get around him. Prohibition is going to destroy you. Macrocosmos is going to rape you. Pretty much they're the ones I've faced so far. There are a lot more. I mean, this deck seems to be quite weak to a lot of things. But Tsukuyomi, it can take care of the monsters. You know, Tsukuyomi, power, get rid of anything really. And, you know, you can just Tsukuyomi Thunder King attack it. So Tsukuyomi is a really good card. And it's a spellcaster. Remember, spellcasters, if you have a spellcaster in the field, you're going to win the game. If you have a warrior in the game, no, if you have a warrior in the field, you're most likely going to win. Spellcasters are so good with this deck. Power, wisdom, spellcasters are great. Now, once again, Shien, Naturia Beast, Thunder King, this will deal with it. You need to make sure you can deal with it, so playing 1 Snowman Eater I think is good to protect you. It has a big ass as well. I mean, 1900 defense is really good. Definitely play a Snowman Eater. I think he's proven to be very good so many times. If your opponent doesn't play a lot of effect monsters, you might want to side them both out and play Milesyy, you know, side those Velas out to play Milesyy. Milesyy is just a really good card. It's going to help you draw and it will shut down your opponent, hopefully stop them from OTKing you. Or maybe they will OTK you. They'll special summon so much and hopefully you'll draw Tragoedia. Then you got Kaiku. Kaiku is insanely good for the mirror match. He is so good for the mirror match. You can banish the High Priestess from the grave. You can banish... The spellbooks aren't so much the most important thing. If anything, you'd want to banish Spellbook of Eternity to make sure they can't keep recycling. But yeah, he's also great for Chaos Dragons. You know, your opponent won't be able to banish anything. Your opponent won't be able to use Gateway of the Dark World. He's just so good. Once again, spellcasters, you can power him, you can secret sim, you can destroy people with this card. Then I play 1 Spellbook of Power, because if my opponent does play, like, you know, 2 Thunder Kings, I want to make sure I can get rid of Thunder King as fast as I can. So I can just play any spellcaster, power it, and beat over it. So yeah, playing an extra Spellbook of Power I think is really good. Although I said, you know, you don't want to play any Spellbook in 3 apart from secrets. That changes when your opponent plays a bunch of Thunder Kings. You want to play 3 of these if they're playing Thunder King. Then MST, because it deals with Prohibition and Macrocosmos, and those cards are going to stop you from winning the game. They're so important. Even Anti-Spell Fragrance, stuff like that, when people go creative and use that, you know, it will stop it. And this Dust Tornado. Dust Tornado is an insanely good card. People shouldn't, I don't believe people should be using 2 of these, or if they're using 2 of these in your side deck, have this. Don't use 3, use 2 in 1 or 1 and 1. Because if your opponent goes Shockmaster, oh yeah, also Shockmaster is a big problem as well. So if your opponent goes Shockmaster, he's going to just say spells, obviously. He's most likely, you know, 80% of the time he's going to say spells. So, it means you can't blow up stuff like Macrocosmos. If he has Shockmaster and Macrocosmos, you're screwed, or Shockmaster and Prohibition, you're screwed. This, it helps you. It saves you. You can set this, flip it, destroy that Macrocosmos or Prohibition. It's so good. And then it allows you to set one, so you can either set, like, you know, Torrential Tribute, you can set Spellbook of Wisdom, you can set Spellbook of Fate. You can do so many good plays of this. It's such a good card. Then Rivalry of Warlords. broken in this deck because everything is a spellcaster. That just helps so much. It shuts down wind-ups, shuts down Chaos Dragons, kind of. What else plays multiple stuff? You know, it shuts down with Dolce, I think, as well. Not that that's like a massive deck right now, but no, it can stop quite a lot of decks. It's really good. So yeah, definitely Rivalry of the Warlords. Great card, great card. Then Threatening Roar, because the deck is prone so much to getting OTK'd and it doesn't have a big defense. A lot of the time you will side these in. I mean, Chaos Dragons could do a lot of damage. Mermills, if you're playing a Mermill player, obviously you're going to put these in because the Mermills will just OTK you and you need to make sure you're protected. The way it normally works with Prophecy, on our turn we can mess you up, but on your turn you're free to mess us up. Unless you have Spellbook of Fate, and Spellbook of Fate is just a great defense, but Threatening Roar is just that added defense which I think is really needed and good to have sided in. And finally, Roll Decrees, because the people are playing a bunch of traps like Macrocosmos and Warning and Judgment. Roll Decrees is just going to say no to all that and make sure your plays go off safely, and then Wisdom can just be dedicated to stopping spells from hurting your spellcasters. So that's the extra deck. No, that's the side deck, sorry. That's the generic side deck. I think it's really good. If there's any other side deck cards you should suggest, please leave them in the comments. But this is the one I just take pretty much all the time, and it's been really effective. It deals with all the problem cards that Prophecy face. So yeah, I think it's important that you should use most of them. So, please let me know what you think about my Prophecy deck. As I say, out of all the duels I use, most of the time it will win. You know, it has like a 90% win rate at the moment. It rarely loses. I mean, it lets you plus so much with this. And the deck is so good. It's so fast to discard. So yeah, I think Prophecy is amazing. Even without this card, they are doing amazing, especially at my locals and all that. The locals I'm going to, it's just winning. If not top 8 at least. It's just doing so good. Please leave comments and suggestions. I will be testing out these two cards, you know, Spellbook Star Hall. I'm going to probably test 2 of them. Because if you get your High Priestess to 2,900 or higher, you're safe. You know, there's not much you're going to be able to do. You know, Light Pulsar and Sheeran, they can always crash into it and say no. And Red Eyes is, you know, a common one, they just beat over it. But if you can protect it with this, and you can protect it with Wisdom, it's pretty much going to be unbeatable. So I will test these, and I will get back to you and tell you how these did. But yeah, I'm going to be going to a Nationals in May, and I'll be taking this deck. I'm pretty sure Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy will be out by then. So if it is, you know, I mean, this deck is just going to go crazy poking every one of these cards. I'm going to go, please leave your comments on what you think about the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. I want to get the extra deck completely done to solid 15 cards that are really helping Prophecy. So please leave some extra deck cards to tell me. And if I've missed any side deck cards, please tell me. I apologise for the very long video, but I hope it gave you some information you needed. I hope Spellbook players and Prophecy players and all that, I help you're a better player after this. And yeah, hopefully this deck is going to top everything. You know, Worlds, here they come. YCQs, here they come. This deck is just going to do so good. But other than that, guys, I'm going to go. I'll see you again with this deck in May. I'll do another update on it. But other than that, leave likes, leave comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.